Okay, well, hello everyone. I'd like to invite you to tonight's event, podcast. Tonight we have two special guests, Jane Esplen, and she will be talking about her situations that she's used the light, as well, Janet Stokes, and so. I am sure you're going to enjoy these tonight, and two people. And also, I want to mention that, as been mentioned in other podcasts, if you stay till the end, you'll be entered into a draw, and that draw will, at the end of the month, will be for one of the Super Palm 1050s devices, and the $2,200 value. It's the one that has the 660 and 660 and 1050 nanometer. And so we will be sharing the winner tonight of that, of the month of September. So, and if you stay to the end, you'll be entered into the monthly contest. So every time you join us, every week, you'll get one entry for every week that you stay to the end. So, so without further ado, I'd like to start our intro.
PBM stands for photobiomodulation. Photo being light, bio being biology, and light, well, light coming from some kind of source. In this case, PBM is used to help stimulate healing in the body, whether it's an LED, whether it's a laser, whether it's a sun, but that light comes through the skin layers, and actually the cells are able to absorb that light, converting it to energy, and then there's a host of different processes that are stimulated because of that light. So you can speed up healing, you can do different things that is very beneficial for the cells themselves, for healing, for reduction of inflammation, and a host of other things. Kerber USA is a company that we have set up to promote healing for the US and around the world. We would like to see this technology help a lot of people. We use LED technology where we can provide high amounts of light into the body, and that stimulates healing. I'd like to introduce you to the SunPowerLED Palm Ultimate. This device here has the most power of the series of devices. This light can produce a huge amount of light that can enter into the body and help speed up that healing. In this device, we have two different wavelengths. It's 660 nanometer, and as you can see, it's very bright, but it's very effective. You will cause a systemic effect with this wavelength of light. The other wavelength is 810. It's not very visible, but it penetrates very deep, and that can help as well reach the target that you're trying to reach. The main part about this light is that we have the power behind it and the large surface area that can reach very deep into the body. We believe that our product is the most powerful LED cluster under the sun. We have specification of this device of 150 milliwatts per square centimeter, and that is over this entire area of 40 square centimeters. It also provides a wall of light that comes through the skin and is able to reach depths that have never been able to be done before with other light products on the market. There's an interesting biblical passage in Malachi 4:2 that talks about the healing that comes from the rays of the sun. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to provide healing with these rays. PBM has also been shown in various studies to be able to help promote healing in wounds such as diabetic ulcers, venous ulcers, and other areas where cuts or burns or other types of wounds are on the skin level. If you have any questions about PBM and how our light device, the SunPowerLED Palm series, can help you, please reach out to us and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Hello, everyone. We want to thank you for joining us tonight. And as mentioned, I've got Jane Esplen on with us tonight. She learned about the light that we have, PBM, and she's going to be able to share with us. So, Jane, could you tell us a little more about yourself?
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Jane, and I'm a mom of 4 grown children. I'm a retired registered nurse, and I have been battling a couple of autoimmune diseases for a number of years, and always looking for healthy treatments.
And how did you hear about us?
So my story is a little more convoluted than the average, but I had initially I had pain in my shoulder for over a year. That was kind of undiagnosed. They said tendonitis. They didn't really know till I had an MRI, and then said I had a tear in my rotator cuff. And I had been for physio, wasn't really doing things, and the pain was quite acute at times, and I'd lost some range of motion. So I thought, I started looking for some other treatment or whatever. So I went online and started reading about red light therapy and got really intrigued. And then I thought, okay, well, is there any red light therapy in my area? And I looked it up and I found 2 places that did it. I'm in the west end of Toronto, and one was downtown and one was out by the airport. The airport was closer to me, and I also found out that the one downtown was not open to the public. So when I went to this therapy, it was actually the full body Novothor treatment, which was like a tanning bed.
Right. Very,
Yeah.
very large. It's like a clamshell. You lay inside of it, and the top comes down, correct?
Correct. And it had the 650, 850 lights on it. And so I started that treatment. And I tell you, the benefits I got from it were amazing. I would sit in it for like 20 minutes at a time, and the pain would be completely gone from my shoulder. I would be so relaxed, I just want to fall asleep when I came out. And it also drained my sinuses, which was incredible. Those were the 3 things, the major things for me. So I did about 5 of those treatments, and then realized, you know, this is great. I got to, get in the car, come out, whatever, do the treatment. And I thought, I'd really love to be able to do this at home. And so I went back online and started looking for a machine or something that I could use at home. And that's when I found you, Kerber USA, or SunPowerLED. And I was also looking at other lights as well, but I kept coming back to yours, because what's really important for me is that I compare apples to apples. And some of the other machines I was looking at were not anywhere near as good as yours. And I think the irradiance was one of the things I was looking at, and yours came above everything. And what really was the kicker for me purchasing was I had had shingles before. I had it on the side of my face here, and I thought I was getting another breakout. And so I actually decided, okay, I'm going to purchase this machine. And I talked to one of your staff, and she was very kind and said, yes, we will expedite this and get it to you as fast as possible. So I did get it and started using it. And I did not have a breakout on my face, but I started using it on my face and used it on my rotator cuff. And I was able to, the pain would go away for like 3 hours at a time. It was incredible. I would just put it on my shoulder, hold it there, move it around a bit. And I was amazed.
So did you have a restriction in range of motion then? Or you couldn't lift your hand very far, or how did you end up feeling the pain?
I could get to about there instead of this. That's about as high as I could get, and I could only get half. I could only get my arm to go backwards to my hip. So, and I have to qualify that I started using the red light. I was doing some physio, and I also had prolotherapy, which is where they inject you with some needles in your back. So the combination of all three over a number of months really helped me get back. I have full range of motion up here, and I'm about can get my arm halfway up my back, and no more pain. Pain's gone.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, there's no harm in combination therapies with this, whether it's physio, whether it's chiropractic, or whether it's other forms of treatment, acupuncture. This goes very nicely, and you don't have to stop one to do the other. You can run it alongside of that. So you also noticed with the light therapy that you would come down to see us, correct? To try out the light in our facility.
Yeah.
Was that the larger canopy device?
Yes, I did the big canopy, and because the big canopy you had was kind of like the Novathor. It was a huge area.
Very large area of the back that you can treat. So
yeah.
Just for those that are listening in, the Novathor is looks like a tanning bed. It's a device that you can buy for the low price of $150,000 US.
Yep.
And our canopy is actually more intense light out of it, reaching the power levels of the sun in covering like an entire area of your back in one shot. So it doesn't do the whole body, but the intensity is much greater in each over. And I'm sure when you went under the mini canopy, it felt like you're on a beach under sunbathing, right? It was just,
yeah. That's the whole thing with the light therapy. It's just so relaxing, and it's warm, which is great too, and it's light, and especially in our Canadian climate, that so much of the year we don't get much light. So this is just an intensified amount that you can put wherever.
Right. And with the comparison too is our light, we're looking at anywhere from 3 to 4 times the power density per area. So you're treating a smaller area, the whole back, let's say, but it's far more intense as far as energy coming through than the Novathor device. And for those that can afford it, it's a $35,000 device as opposed to a $150,000 device. So tell me a little bit about anti-aging. What have you been able to see on that front as far as benefits?
So as I said, I originally purchased it to help with the pain in my shoulder. But again, I was putting it on my face because I thought I was having another outbreak of shingles. And I just started putting all over my face and also on my head because I found it was a big stress relief, especially when you put it on your head. I also I suffer from migraines, and I felt I could get some relief from that. But when I did more research, I found that the cosmetic industry had been using photobiomodulation for a number of years, and it was for anti-wrinkles and rejuvenation and that kind of stuff. And not that I'm into that vanity side of it, but I thought, well, if I've got this machine, I might as well continue to use it. So yeah, so I put it all over my face. And even if I had like a cut or a blemish, I found the Super Palm just really helped heal that area. And it also got rid of some of my wrinkles. And people would say to me, wow, your skin looks amazing. And I'm like, okay, well, here's another benefit of it.
As a matter of fact, I'm 95 years old. No. No. But anyways, no, I haven't been using it for my skin, but I know that others have benefited as well from using the light. So for skin, one of the fellows, he found it very interesting. He had tinnitus on one of the ears, and he decided to treat his ear to see if it could help. And in his case, it helped significantly reduce the noise level that he had, but it was just the one ear that was really bothering him. So he's treating only the one ear. Well, his daughter noticed that she said, "Dad, you don't have the bag under this eye," the side that he was treating. The other side still had the bag. So it was actually helping to drain that area and improve the skin complexion look. And then eventually start treating both ears, because he wanted to just try and improve everything. And so it did. It helped him with it has a lot to do with lymphatic drainage and drainage through the area. So that's what the benefit he was able to see. So you've also been able to experience a little bit to do with the mouth area. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so part of my autoimmune is I have problems with my mouth, like I have a smaller opening, also problems with my jaw. So I was putting it here to help with my jaw. And again, any kind of pain or clicking or whatever would go away after using it. And in the mouth, funny story, I had used it for canker sores before, or if you say burn your mouth, or you cut your mouth on something, and I found that it really speeded up the recovery time from it. So my daughter-in-law was over for dinner one night, and she had mentioned she had a canker sore, and I said, "Oh, go get the light." So she maybe used it for maybe twice during that evening, and at the end of it, before they left, I said, "Oh, how's your canker sore?" And she said, "It's gone." And I'm like, "Wow, that is incredible." Now, she didn't have a large, right? It was a small one. But I found that too, with any kind of a small canker sore, it literally takes it away, which is incredible.
One of the fellows, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, going back when you were talking about the ear, I also I have a eustachian tube dysfunction, and prior to COVID, I had been deaf in my ear for about 3 years, and no one been to an ENT, naturopath, no one was able to really help me with it. And I ended up seeing a lymphatic drainage specialist, and she helped with it. And I used the light, and she said the light would be extremely beneficial for all the lymph nodes around that area, helping drain it. And I also get my stress I carry in my neck, so it gets very tight and stiff. And if you put the light on it, that really helps loosen all of that area up. And so when I fly, I find it's worse for me because of the pressure change. So every time I fly, I use the light on my neck and around my ear, and it makes a huge difference. And also sometimes I get pain from it, and again, it takes the pain away.
Yeah, I've had now in my personal case, I didn't have the light to help me on this. This goes way back, but my issue with flying would be I realized later on it actually was something that I had. I used to like ice cream. Well, I still like ice cream, but I didn't realize that when I do these flights, I'd have many times a layover. And so when I had the layover and time on my hands before the next flight, I would eat an ice cream cone. No idea that would cause my eustachian tube to close down, and the pain that I would have on the next flight when I was landing would be incredible, whether 2 hours later or whatever. And I linked it all, in this case, linked it to the fact that somehow I was allergic to some of the ice cream, and caused the phlegm or eustachian tube blockage. Yeah. But it is extremely painful. And when you come down from a flight, and it could be 3-4 hours before I would have relief. And I try everything to open your mouth up wide, trying to swallow, do all those things. Mm-hmm. And just maybe once in a while get a little tiny relief. But I'm pretty sure if I would have had the light with me, I could have probably used it at the airport. And that's one thing that is pretty neat. It's just a really small form factor. This device, it's got a lot of power in it, but it's very easy to put in the luggage because of its size. So that's something that can be easily transported, and it's not a big machine. And you do a lot of traveling, right? So
Yes, so that was also another big draw for me, is the fact that it can go in your carry-on luggage. Because it doesn't have a battery, it plugs into an outlet, and so it can go through the security, no problem. And it's small enough that I take it with me wherever I go. So if I'm going away for a weekend, I just throw it in my bag. If I'm going on an airplane, it fits in the carry-on. And I'm always very careful. If people want to use it, I'm like, well, you have to come to me. I'm not lending it out, because you have to be careful with it, right? It's a machine, and you want to take care of it. So
right.
yes, I find it's also lightweight. The way you designed it, and the 6-foot cord is so great. Like I can be sitting on the couch and plug in. I can be in my bed and doing it. And I really think, and I'd like to try this, some of the newer planes have an outlet that you can actually plug in. I've not tried it yet because I just fly on smaller planes that don't have that. But even in the airport, if you can find an outlet, if you've got, a layover or whatever, and I find if I sit too long in an airplane, I get pain in my shoulders. So just being able to do that for, a couple of minutes is really.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
And that's the beauty of the size of it and the lightweightness of it.
So just yesterday, there was an individual who she runs a spa and massage, and she had a tooth that got infected, and she was in severe pain. And because it was over the weekend, she couldn't get through to any dentist to help her or do anything. And so she called me right away. She says, do you think this light would be able to help reduce the inflammation in the tooth area? And she was shocked when she plugged it in, and she had used it for 5 minutes she said her cheek reduced, and the swelling went down in her cheek, and the pain disappeared. So a lot of times when you are flying, because of the pressure changes, that can cause a lot of pain. Well, if you come off the flight, or even if the flight has the plug on it, you could plug in the adapter and do the treatment, on the flight. As you say, it doesn't have the lithium batteries. So the two things. One is that no problems going through customs as a personal unit like that. And as far as planes, they don't like any lithium batteries because it can cause a fire. And in this case, there's no lithium batteries no batteries at all in our device. So there's no problem going anywhere with it. But also the adapter itself is one that runs on not only 120 volts, but the adapter can work on 240 volts. So all that person needs is just one of those little blade things that sticks on the end of it to convert the flat blades to the round pins or the other styles. And you can use that adapter anywhere in the world. So for being mobile and lightweight, and packing it in your luggage, to be able to use it at any time, that makes it pretty easy to use.
And I'll put in that it's quiet enough that you can use it on the plane because you have the background noise of the plane. So it's not going to be louder than that. So you wouldn't even be disturbing someone beside you. If you were just putting it on here, they wouldn't be able to hear it.
Right. So and my recommendation, if you were on a flight and it's at night, you want to use the 810 nanometer or the 1050 yes. Preferably. Otherwise, you're going to light up the whole cockpit, the whole area, seating area. So be mindful of your the person next to you using those wavelengths. There'll be no issue because it's not very, you can hardly see it at that point. And the 1050 with the super palm is totally invisible, so nobody will know that it's even turned on.
Yeah.
Even if the cabin was totally dark. So, yeah, so what, on the area of your canker sores, there's one fellow, he flies as well. And he says because of the dryness and some other things, he usually gets these, breaks out in these little blisters on his lip. And in this case, he had one, and he treated, and he a couple hours later, he said, it wasn't there. It was gone. Like it actually had turned around and healed, you know, and so the side benefits, if you like your coffee really, really hot, and once in a while, unfortunately, you burn your lips a little or your tongue, this is something that really helps turn around that healing. So this is, well, Jane, it's been wonderful to have you on. And is there any other thoughts you had with this light technology? It's well, curious. You, in your digging up of research information, there's lots of studies out there, right? You started digging.
Yeah, and because of my medical background, I really like the scientific studies, and so just incredible what the light can do and in the cells and in the body and how far it penetrates, and especially your light, because it was one of the strongest ones that I found. And just going back to, and I think I heard somebody else say this on one of your webinars, but he said that it was great for use in the whole family. So say you had, if someone had a cut or a bruise or whatever, it's like, oh, let's put the light on it. And that's what I found when I first got it. It was really for the tendinitis, but then I started using it all over my body and was getting results. And even said to other people, like if my son had hurt his back, I'm like, put this on your back. And my daughter had some eczema, and I said, put that on. It literally can be used all over your body. It's not just for one thing, it's for many things. And I would agree with that. I think every family, every household should have one because of the benefits from it. And it's without putting chemicals in your body. That's what I loved, because my body specifically does not do well with chemicals. And I also find that sometimes they just mask things that are a lot deeper. Whereas this is actually getting down at the cellular level, and there is the research to support that. And yeah, I think it's amazing technology. So thank you,
And
Tom.
they've shown that the light, there's research studies there that show how the light can penetrate the brain through the skull. There's not a problem penetrating the skull with the energy that you have from this device. So there's other research out there that's showing that how this can be helpful for concussions, strokes, all these different angles of problems with the brain, and how the light can be useful. And I guess one thing that people don't quite understand is, you know, it's some would say, oh, because you're saying it can treat your lip, and then it can treat your toes, and it can treat your sciatic pain. It's kind of like, that's crazy. Like, you know, how can one thing support all those, you know, do all those different things? And the reason is the light, as you learned in your research, the light can be absorbed by the cells, and then the cells turn around and go nuts in repair. So they can do this, they can do that. Well, we have cells everywhere throughout our whole body. I forget how many trillion cells that we have in our body, but right from the very scalp, which you mentioned about, some people have been able to benefit from hair growth from it. If they still have hair follicles, they've been able to see hair growth, right down to things that pain in their plantar fasciitis, to other types of pain right in their foot, and everything in between. And as far as speeding up healing, that's something that you mentioned, but we've seen over and over and over again, even with diabetic foot ulcers, which can be very nasty, resulting in the loss of the foot through amputation. We've been able to prevent by people using the light for getting the blood circulation going in the area, helping the lymphatic system to drain. Anything else that you pick jumps out on your mind on the research side that?
No, just that they're, they've been using it in the cosmetic industry. Our basketball, our Raptors have been using it for muscle recovery for a number of years. So it's been out there. It is out there, and I would love to see more people being able to get it and utilize it and get the benefits from it, because it's quite incredible. And the other thing is you have to try it to believe it. That was my whole thing.
Yes.
Honestly, you can take our word for it, and this is my personal testimony, but I'm always like, well, try something, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't, but if it does, wow. And for me, it was like, wow, this product works. So yeah.
And the other thing with the FDA in this whole area, we're FDA registered with our device, is the FDA has seen this as like do no harm. It's so easy to use this light, but it doesn't. They did all these years of PBM being out there, and very little report of any issues whatsoever. So it's a very safe technology to use in that way. So, well, Jane, I want to thank you very much for coming on tonight, and I wish all the best for you and your continued healing, and all the people that you're helping along the way. Thank you, Jane.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
Well, now I'd like to introduce our next guest, Janet Stokes. And this is very neat that I can say this. Janet, you are the winner of the Super Palm for the month of September. So Janet, you have been around the university, Shepherd's University, and you're going to give us just a very, very small glimpse into a couple things that you found with the light, what it's been able to do, and how Shepherd's University ended up introducing you to this. So I'd like to bring Janet on now, if could. So she's been able to learn firsthand through our connections with with Shepherd's University in West Virginia. And Shepherd's they have the very large canopy. They also have the mini canopy, and they have the helmet and a whole bunch of palms. Well, congratulations, Janet.
Thank you. I wanted to tell you that I am so surprised, but I feel very blessed by this, because I've been attending your seminars on and off since last November, when I found out about your equipment. I'm 68 years old. I'm a retired school teacher. I have chronic pain in my hip, leg, shoulder. If you sleep on one side for 67 years, you're going to get some pain. And I had a fall, and so I had this chronic pain that wouldn't go away. And I tried going to a physical therapist's office, and there I saw an ad for Shepherd's University. And I'm a skeptic, but I'm also a believer in trying new things. So I went to Shepherd's University, and I used some of their equipment that you have there. And I'm so glad that I saw that ad, because it changed my life. And I know it's going to change the lives of a lot of people around me, because once I get that unit from me, I'll be able to share it with others. And they can't go, well, I don't want to go over there and try that. They're scared. You shouldn't be scared. It's such worth making that effort. So I tell everyone that I meet about SunPowerLED, the webinars, and I tell them mostly about Shepherd and how they can utilize their facilities to use your equipment and the other equipment that they have there, because their equipment and their whole setup is phenomenal. Their pricing is phenomenal, as are your prices are very phenomenal too. They're wonderful. They're very inexpensive in comparison to what doctors charge in offices. I talked to somebody who had their knees done by a private doctor, and it was $600 a treatment. I was just shocked.
Well,
So
so you got a chance to meet Jennifer Flora. Was
all the time, I go down and knock on her door all the time and tell her, did so and so come by? Because I recommend it to everyone that I meet. I mean, people at church, anyone that I see that, oh, have you heard of this? And I keep these brochures from Shepherd in my purse and hand them out because I so believe in this. I don't like taking over-the-counter medications or prescriptions. I do have people in my family who are alive because of over-the-counter medications and prescriptions, but personally, I find that they're damaging to me, and I've always tried to find alternative things. So
Right.
I want to let everyone know real quickly that your equipment and the equipment at Shepherd's, it's third-party tested for its genuine authenticity as far as you advertise it being this, and they've tested it to be true.
Yep.
It's not going to be something that you get and it's going to wobble in its power level. It's true. It's true to what that you have advertised it to be. So I've been using, okay.
Yeah, go ahead. And so you had we're just going to give just a little snapshot, but you had an issue on your eye.
Yes.
And
I had a cyst on my eye and I went to the ophthalmologist and you could see it when my eyelid was, my eyes were open and I'm like, and it was hard. And I know when you get something hard under your skin, it doesn't come out unless you do something to remove it. And so I said, I did some research and I went, I'm going to use the Palm Professional, which is what they had at Shepherd. And I used it on my face and I used it on my forehead and my eye with my eyes shut. And then it just disappeared. I was so surprised. It just disappeared because, there's people that fools with stuff and it disappeared. But I also had some anti-aging benefits from that because I think I was trying to eliminate a problem. I also found that I don't have as many sunspots and I had some sun damage that would come to the surface and was alleviated by the treatments.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So we're going to have you on to explain some of the other benefits. We're just giving you a little glimpse.
Oh, thank you.
Everybody's just getting a little glimpse of what you have been able to find. But one of the things that you mentioned is we'll be talking about the boosted energy that you felt from doing this type of light therapy. And so we're going to have you back on October 17th.
Thank you.
And it's going to be another special event.
Thank you.
So Janet, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. That was great to hear. And just keep telling everybody about our light. And as well, I tell everybody who's on this webinar tonight, I don't usually mention it, or I haven't mentioned it. You should tell 2 or 3 other people to come on and watch this webinar and learn what PBM can do. So thank you, Janet, for being on.
Thank you.
All right. So at this point, I'm just going to go into sharing a little bit about the products. I will have a question and answer period after that. So so that's a plan of what's going to happen. So I just want to bring to your attention the different units. I started with the classic. It is a 1 wavelength device and at 660 nanometer. And we saw that there could be a lot of improvements if we moved to having a second wavelength available. So this happens to have the this right now has the 660 nanometer wavelength and the 810 nanometer wavelength. And so that can be seen. There's some little purplish dots here. If I hold it up a little closer, that's the 810 nanometer. And the difference being a 660 nanometer does not penetrate as deep, but has an effect on the blood more than the 810. And the 810 can penetrate much deeper. So the 810 can reach deeper into the shoulder joints, into the hip, into other parts of the body, where the 660 will have more difficulty getting there. And both wavelengths are very, very beneficial. So that's why we included full power of the 1 wavelength 660 and full power of the wavelength on the other at 810. We were able to work with more and more and get more feedback. And as we did, we developed the next unit up the line. and it's the unit is called the Ultimate, and we have 25% more power coming out of this device than the Professional, and that helps to a little bit with penetration, as well as helps you to get there a little faster. So with 25% more energy coming in, generally you can have 25% less time in treatment to the area. So that's our Ultimate. And then we have the Super Palm 1050. And that unit here has the same 660 nanometer wavelength, but it also has the 1050 nanometer, and instead of the 810. And the reason we did that is 1050 has the potential to penetrate a little bit deeper as well. And so it's totally invisible to my eye, but you can see the LEDs there. We did put so this is all invisible, but that red light over in the edge there, that's just so that people know it's running, because you can't really tell other than you feel some warmth from the light. So those are the main palm lights. Now, we did develop another device for a helmet, and this is presently used at Shepherd's University it's being used in 2 trials for opiate addiction and depression. And we had last week Dr. Jennifer Flora, and they've been running the studies, and we will be able to be sharing those results with you when they're coming in. But the early findings, they were able to find from the technicians need to give it a try, and they found that using the helmet with the light, it was possible that people noticed a significant improvement in their sleep, sleeping much longer and more alert during the day. And there was even one person that ended up having a reduction of a ringing in the ear. So that's our device there. This is what we call the mini canopy, and the mini canopy has the 2 wavelengths as well. It has the 810 nanometer, which is kind of hard you can't really see it, a little bit of purplish look on it, but you feel the energy coming out of it. It's actually 15 times the area of this, with the same power density that we have coming off of the Ultimate is coming out of this device here, and covering a much larger area. So this can cover entire back or upper shoulder area. That's one wavelength. And then we have the 660 nanometer, which is bright, and that's the one that has more of an effect on the blood. So we have that device as well. Now, some of you might be asking, this may be your first time on here, is to how can this be possible that this can help rotator cuffs? How can it help something in your ankles or plantar fasciitis or up to hair growth? How is that possible that light can do all that stuff? Well, in the intro video there, I do mention it, but light from these units can go into the body, and because of the power level that we have, we're able to get to the target area. But what happens is cells can absorb that light just like a tree can, and so it leaves in the tree. And we all know by photosynthesis, we're taught that in science, but really it's not mentioned that the cells in the body can also absorb the wavelengths that we have here, whether it's 660 or the 810. And when they do, it's providing a lot of energy to the power plant of the cell, which is been given that name. It's the mitochondria, and the mitochondria can absorb those wavelengths, create the energy, and now all your cells benefit from that. And it's like giving them high octane fuel, and the cells can run on that and do very well in trying to repair, in trying to reduce inflammation, in the whole healing process. So that's how the different wavelengths work, and how that goes in, and we're going to, there is, if you go to if you go to SunPowerLED.com for the next 24 hours, I'm giving a special on all these devices, $100 discount, and you just have to enter in promo 100 Tom with an exclamation mark, and you'll be able to receive $100 off these different devices for the next 24 hours. So I welcome you to go to SunPowerLED. Now, we got a lot of information there as well. There's the various videos, as I mentioned. Janet is from the West Virginia area, and she benefited from all the work at Shepherd's University. And last week, we have the video now posted from last week, and that is Dr. Jennifer Flora. And I'm sure you're going to be pretty enjoy that. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, please go to the website and look at past videos, or it's still on the main page actually, so you can find it there. I'd like to answer some of the questions that you have. A number of questions have come in, and thank you, Lorraine, for your asking your question. I am recovering from lumbar back surgery, rods and screws. They put substance in there that requires time to harden the hardware in place. Will this pain penetrate the spine to help harden, like the dental tool helps harden the filling? Well, actually, no, it won't, because it's not going to actually harden because of the light. But the light can penetrate the spine and help bone growth. So they've been able to show how you can research has shown how it can help speed up the on the molecular level, the bone growth, the cellular level, how the bone are able to regenerate, bone material is able to regenerate. So it definitely helped. I've also had the question given to me about, well, can I use it on if I have hardware in my screws or plates, and there's no problem. The energy is much lower as it gets through the skin level, and it will not cause the parts to heat up or anything like that. But again, it'll help that a lot. They usually put a special surface on the metal pieces so that the bone will adhere to it, and it will help that to work. Another question we have from Jean. Thank you, Jean, for your question. How long do you leave the light on your face? Now, first of all, as was mentioned earlier, whenever you're using it around the light area, around the eye area, it's good to close your eyelids, and that's the way you do the treatment. Or if you want to wear some heavier dark sunglasses, or there's also special glasses that can be ordered, but it's very safe to use the light with your eyelids closed, much like you can go out on the beach and sunbathe and not damage your eyes. It's because your eyelids do a fantastic job of not only dropping the light level a bit, but the big thing is it scatters the light, so there's no hot spots on the back of the eye. Unlike if you were to keep your eyes open and stare at the sun, you could damage your eyes in a short amount of time. But nobody does that, because usually you would close your eyes. So that's what so as far as treatment on the sinuses, on the nose area or upper sinuses, or doing skull treatments, just use it with the eyelids closed. And as far as length of time, on the skin, if you're just talking skin treatment, for like the anti-aging effect and other positive effects on the skin, you're looking at like 2 minutes or less over the area. And you can put it right against the skin, but you also can pull it back a bit and cover a larger area, because the amount of energy that we have coming out of our device has no problem being a little further back, but you can use it, like I say, right against the skin. And you're getting a significant dosage even in 1 minute. Now, if you had teeth extracted and you have issues with swelling, that because of now you're going through the cheek wall and going into the jaw area, you have almost 100 times the light level drop by the time you start getting into the jaw. So at that point, a person can treat 5 to 10 minutes with the light on that area, and they'll be able to reduce that inflammation. And as I mentioned with the one massage therapist, she was very surprised that significant amount of inflammation was reduced in her cheek in the first 5 minutes of use. So already at that point, you're getting significant improvement. Okay, and just another question here, a little longer one. Okay, so question or comment here from Yuli, that she's been using it as well for a problem in the eye. And the neat thing is that as she says here, that the condition has not progressed. So we're hoping all the best, Yuli, that you can continue to stave off what a lot of people have troubles with their eyes. I've had some seniors be able to help with floaters and reduce the floaters in their eye, and that's been helpful to them. So that's another use. But people have asked, okay, now let's go back to the shoulder. If you're looking at shoulder pain, you're going to be wanting to treat 5-10 minutes on that area. So you may treat there, you may treat on the back and on the shoulder tip. So you might spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes on this whole area. My recommendation would be that you would spend about 3/4 of the time with the dim setting, or if you have a Super Palm 1050, which is totally invisible, which is the 1050 nanometer, whether it's 810 or 1050, I would spend about 3/4 of the time with the near infrared, and spend a little bit of time with the bright red, which is the 660, because the bright red still has an effect on the blood, and the blood does go through that whole area. So it's pretty neat that the blood goes far beyond where you're treating, and so you can help the area as well. So, but if you're trying to treat your hip and it's in the center of the hip area, you might have to spend a half an hour over that whole area to get enough energy to make the difference in the hip joint. And again, I'd recommend that very much higher percentage of time with the near infrared. If you were just treating your fingers, there's not a lot of depth there, so that you don't need very much near infrared. So in that case, you could be treating a couple minutes. And if you're looking at a couple minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, use most of the time with the, in this case, the bright red. Use 2 minutes of red and 1 minute of the near infrared. You kind of switch things around because there's not a lot of thickness here. I've got Dr. Traeger on, sent me a message here. I have been using the Palm unit for over 2.5 years in my dental practice with amazing results. The patients are amazed by the results in such a short time. Thanks, Tom. Well, thank you, Dr. Traeger, for getting the light, and especially for your treatment, your patients being able to receive the benefit of that treatment. I will mention too that we've been able to see people using the light over their ear for tinnitus. There's tinnitus, there's different ways of pronouncing it. But when there's ringing in the ears, it can be pretty nasty. And the light has been, the near infrared has been beneficial. So far, I've seen that it looks like 8 out of 10 people. There are some people that it hasn't helped, but there's a majority that it has, and that's pretty neat to see. Yeah, so when if somebody was using it for some kind of want to help the wellness of their eye, they'd be looking at using about 1 minute to 2 minutes, and I would say if you want to use the 660 nanometer wavelength, with both situations with the eyes closed, you would keep that pretty short treatment of 1 minute. And if also it'd be great if you would be able to take 1 minute of the 660 nanometer and 1 minute of the 810. Now this 660, it is pretty bright, so you can actually pull it further back just to a comfortable level, but again, with the eyelids closed. The power level at that point coming from the unit is less than that from the sun. So, and it's a very short treatment. So, Maurice, hope that helps with your question there. I want to ask everybody to, we'd love to see more and more people join in this webinar, and we look forward to your questions, and also if there's certain topics you would like us to use or go into. And I also want to mention that as far as with the all of this, we're not trying to treat anything. We're trying to suggest how these lights can be used from a wellness perspective. So you should check with your people that are qualified, that have their licenses in the medical field, to check things out. But this is our findings, and we're just trying to pass this along. Okay. Also, so please share with everybody to come on. Oh, sorry. Next week we will not be having our webinar. So our next one will be in 2 weeks. Please join us then. And we will also be having that's 2 weeks, right? Yeah, 2 weeks we'll be having Janet on for continued explanation and some of the things that she's been able to see working with West Virginia, with Shepherd's University. So thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Have a great week. May you be richly blessed. All the best. Bye for now.